Welcome back. Vampires are the genre that refuses to die, and the games built around them are all over the map, from immersive sims to survival builders to two-stick arcade chaos. So today, the 10 best vampire games you can actually play on PC right now ranked. My one rule: the vampire has to matter, mechanically or thematically, not just sit there as set dressing. The criteria are simple. How well does the game use the fantasy of being, or hunting, the undead? My hottest take is sitting at number 2. And a lot of you are going to think it should be number 1. We will get there. Let's count it down. Number 10, BloodRayne Terminal Cut. This is the early 2000s power fantasy, remastered and dragged into the modern era with proper widescreen and resolution support. You play Rain, a half-vampire damper carving through Nazis, and the occult with twin-arm blades and a feeding mechanic that heals you mid-slaughter. It is dumb in the way the best of that era was dumb, and it knows it. The combat has not aged gracefully, the camera fights you, and the level design is a straight line. But the Terminal Cut restoration is genuinely the definitive way to play a piece of vampire game history, and at $15 it is a fair ask for the nostalgia. A flawed museum piece, but the museum is worth visiting. Number 9, El Paso Elsewhere. A third-person shooter that wears its Max Payne influence on its sleeve, bullet time dives and all, except the noir here is supernatural. Your vampire ex-girlfriend is trying to end the world from a motel that goes down 50 impossible floors, and you are the only one who can stop her. The writing is the reason this is on the list. It is a genuinely affecting story about an abusive relationship smuggled inside a slow-motion gunfight against werewolves and the undead. The shooting loop gets repetitive across those 50 floors. That is the honest knock against it. But almost nothing else captures the feeling of hunting a vampire you used to love. $10 and worth every cent for the script alone. Number 8, Vampire: The Masquerade Swansong. A narrative investigation game, no combat, 3 playable vampires of different clans, all caught in the politics of Boston's undead court. This is a divisive one. If you came for action, you will bounce off it hard, because the entire game is dialogue trees, skill checks, and exploring crime scenes with vampire disciplines. But as a piece of World of Darkness storytelling, it commits completely, and the clan power fantasy, reading minds, dominating a witness, sensing a lie, is woven into the investigation in a way few games attempt. It is rough around the edges, and the budget shows. At its current price, though, it is the most authentically vampire. The Masquerade experience on this list outside the legend at number 2. Number 7, Castlevania Advance Collection. 3 of the best handheld Castlevanias, plus Dracula X, bundled with save states, rewind, and a gallery, all running cleanly on modern hardware. Aria of Sorrow alone justifies the purchase. It is one of the finest Metroidvanias ever made, Vampire Castle and all, and Symphony of the Night's DNA runs through every frame. This is the purest expression of the original vampire, game power fantasy storm Dracula's castle, absorb the powers of the monsters you kill, and tear the Lord of the Vampires apart. $10 for 4 classics with proper quality of life features is the kind of preservation effort more publishers should copy. If you have never played one, this is where you start. Number 6, Legacy of Kain: Soul Reaver 1 and 2, Remastered. 2 of the most ambitious action adventures of their generation, finally given a clean coat of paint. You play Raziel, a vampire executed by his own god, king, and resurrected as a soul-devouring wraith, shifting between the material and spectral planes to solve puzzles and feed on the dead. The voice acting is still some of the best the medium has ever produced, genuinely Shakespearean, and the remaster wisely leaves the script and performances untouched. The catch is that the original game's camera and traversal are still here under the new visuals, and the second game in particular ends abruptly. But the atmosphere and the writing are timeless. This is gothic vampire tragedy treated as high art, and almost nothing since has matched its ambition. Number 5, Vampire: Dontnod's take on the immersive sim set in 1918 London during the Spanish flu, and the strongest moral weight system of any vampire game. You are a doctor turned vampire, and every citizen in the city is both a fully written character with a name and a story and a potential meal. Drink them, and you get a huge surge of experience to grow your powers. Spare them, and you stay weak, but the district stays alive. That tension is the whole game, and it is brilliant. The combat is merely okay, stiff and a little repetitive, and that holds it back from a higher spot. But the central hook, that the easiest way to get strong is to murder the people you have come to know, is one of the smartest ideas in the genre. $4 on sale is theft. Number 4, Code Vein. Bandai Namco's anime Souls-like, set in a post-apocalypse where humanity has turned to blood-drinking revenants to survive. Think Dark Souls with a thirst, a striking gothic anime aesthetic, and an AI companion system, so the difficulty bends to how you want to play. The vampirism is baked into the mechanics. You drain enemies to fuel special abilities, and your build is defined by blood codes you swap on the fly. It leans hard on its style. The character creator alone has kept people busy for years, and the combat is satisfying once it clicks. The level design gets samey in the back half, and the story is pure anime melodrama. Take that as warning or invitation. But as an action RPG built on bloodlust, it delivers. At $6, it is one of the best value Souls-likes going. Number 3, Vampire Survivors, the $4 game that accidentally created an entire genre. You move, that is the only input. Your weapons fire automatically, and you survive waves of thousands of enemies while building an absurd, screen-clearing engine of destruction. The vampire framing is light, it is gothic monsters, and a Castlevania homage at its core, but the dopamine loop is the most refined on this entire list. It is the kind of game you boot up for 10 minutes, and look up an hour later. The honest caveat is that it is mechanically shallow by design. There is no depth of execution, only of build. But as a pure, perfected feedback machine, it is flawless at what it does, and the price-to-hours ratio is genuinely unbeatable, a masterpiece of a very specific kind. Number 2, Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines, the cult classic. 20 years old, famously released broken, held together to this day by fan patches, and still the best vampire role-playing game ever made by a wide margin. You are a freshly turned vampire in Los Angeles, and your clan choice fundamentally rewrites the experience. From a Nosferatu so hideous you must crawl through sewers to avoid being seen, to a Malkavian whose dialogue is rewritten entirely to reflect their prophetic insanity. The Hollywood and Hollowbrook Hub are some of the best written environments in any RPG, and the haunted hotel level is still cited as one of the scariest things in gaming. Yes, the combat is bad and the back third is a mess. It does not matter. No game before or since has made being a vampire feel this specific, this dangerous, or this alive. Number 2 only because it asks you to fight its own jank to love it. Number 1, V Rising. This is the one that took the whole fantasy of being a vampire and built an entire game around it. Not just the bloodlust, but the lifestyle. You rise from a coffin, a weak creature, hunt for blood to grow stronger, and build a castle that you must literally manage against the sunrise, because daylight will kill you. The blood type of who you feed on changes your abilities. You hunt bosses for new powers, raid for resources, and slowly transform from prey into the apex predator of an open world. It nails the survival builder loop. The combat is genuinely good, sharp dodge, roll action rather than the usual janky survival swing, and whether you play it solo or on a server with friends, the power curve from fledgling to lord is deeply satisfying. It is the rare survival game with a real ending and a real arc, the complete vampire power fantasy, and the best vampire game you can buy today. Number 1. That is the list. 10 vampire games from a remastered cult arcade brawler all the way up to the modern survival king. The ones I left off, the older Castlevanias, Salt and Sacrifice, the Dracula Point, and Clicks, could each bump something in the bottom half if you weight nostalgia differently, and I will not fight you too hard on it. The one I will defend is Bloodlines at number 2 over almost anything else here. Next time, we do the same treatment for werewolf and monster hunter games, so if there is one you would put on that list, that is the conversation. Until then, take care.